Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Eric. Eric is a pilot and he's from Virginia in USA. And today he celebrates his birthday. So Eric, I wish you a very happy birthday. I hope you are having a very good time with your family and your friends as well. And I hope all of you enjoy the interview. Happy birthday. Hello. Oh, hello Eric.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Very good. How about you?
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey called William the Magic Box. Right. So just before we start the game, Eric, just tell me where are you from?
I'm from the U.S., born and raised in West Virginia and living in Northern Virginia right now.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
Well, I used to be a pilot, but with the corona, I haven't flown in a year or so. So now I'm working on my online business and developing that. So
very good, very good. So the city where you live is West Virginia, you said?
No, I'm from West Virginia, but I live in Virginia now. Two different.
In Virginia. All right. Okay. And what's the best part of living there, in your opinion?
I think the culture, there's just a lot to do here. It's easy to do things. You're from London, right? Is that right? Are you living?
I'm originally from Brazil, but I live in London. Yeah.
Yeah. So London is my favorite city in the whole wide world.
Wow.
Obviously outside of here. And just like London, there's so much to do, so much to see. It's easy to get to things, and that's kind of why we like it here.
Very good. And what's the most challenging part, in your opinion?
The cost of housing. It's very expensive to live
like
here.
London.
Oh yeah. This area ranks. It's usually up there with London, Russia, or Moscow, and Paris, and places like that. So yeah, that part's ridiculous.
All right. Okay, Eric, so welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have this lovely box here full of random fun questions, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play a music just for us to get in the mood before the first question. Are you ready?
Ready?
Let's do it. Okay, Eric, ready for the first question?
Ready.
Let's do it. So the first question is, who would you swap lives for a day if you could?
Oh, that's a good one. Living or dead?
Either.
Tough one. Well, yeah, I'm a pilot at heart, so I would have to say it would have to be one of the Wright brothers, just because of everything that they went through and to see the dawn of the aviation age. I'm a big flying nut, obviously, as a pilot. So, yeah, I think one of the Wright brothers.
Very good one. You know what, Eric, I've done already, like since I launched the show, I've done already almost 300 people worldwide, and you are my first pilot. Can you imagine?
Oh, nice.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad. Let's get another question for you. Okay, Eric, just before the next question, tell me what's the best part of being a pilot and what's the most challenging part of being a pilot?
So the best part, obviously, is the ability to go wherever. And I've traveled around the world, so obviously that's a big bonus to see other places, meet new people. The most challenging part, there's a lot of studying that goes into it, and it never stops. So it's a constant process, and if you stop, you'll forget things, and then it's a struggle to get back to where you need to be.
Very good, very good. You know what? A few days ago, I think 2 nights ago, I watched this movie very famous called Sally. You know about the pilot who...
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my God! So I watched the cinema a few years ago, and I just been leaving this place now not long ago, and my flatmates was around. Oh, let's watch a movie, and this one came out. I was like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies. It's amazing, isn't it? Like how the whole history thing and how it ended up in the end. It's beautiful.
Yeah, look at it.
Next question is, what is a significant event that has changed you?
There are several, obviously. I think as far as shaping wise, when I was younger, I was diagnosed with some childhood disease.
Mhm.
Supposedly, I was going to end up in a wheelchair before I was 18, and degenerative this, degenerative that. Um, Now that was, so I'm old. So that was back in the 70s. And I think then it was very easy just to kind of, if you didn't know, you just kind of said, well, here's where you're going to end up. And I lived with that for, my mother kind of said, hey, this is what's going to happen to you. This is every time we go to the doctor, this is what they say. So I took that more as a challenge than as this is my fate. So instead of just sitting back saying, well, eventually I'm going to be in a wheelchair, I said, well, what is it that I can do in the meantime? So I started doing everything, running, biking, lifting, football, which they never said I'd be able to play football, wrestling, and just kept on going with it. And I think a lot of it was just kind of outgrowing the childhood things that existed then. So yeah, it was I think that was a challenging event to be told something like that, and then to have, your family kind of say, here's your fate. And basically I said, yeah, I don't like that. So I'm not in a wheelchair, haven't been in a wheelchair, thank God. And, I've pursued. And so I think that was a defining moment, as far as one of the defining moments.
Very good, very good. It is interesting saying that. I had the other day, I had someone on the show as well, someone from Britain, and this person, he's a bar manager, like he does like cocktails and everything. And he had an accident. His hands, I don't remember whether he broke his hand or something. And the doctor told him, look, unfortunately, you're not going to be able anymore to walk, work in a bar because of the shakes and everything, because your hand not going to be the best, or whatever. After that, he literally took that as again, like the same method as you, and he won like 2 or 3 different like prizes afterwards, like in his competition as a barman, because he just put himself out there, and he just like, William, I just made it up. And yeah, amazing, isn't it? Sometimes how life faced you with something, and you just turn around and go, like, you know what? I'm gonna take that as a step or something that's gonna motivate me.
Yeah, it's not. Obviously, there are things that you just can't overcome. There's certain diseases.
Totally.
Absolutely. But a lot of it is mind over matter. And like I said, I really felt, even as a young age, like, you're not going to tell me that, okay, if you're going to tell me that this is where I'm going to end up, then why not enjoy the time that I have and just keep pushing that, just keep pushing and see what happens. And eventually it was, maybe because I was working the muscles more, and obviously that helped build bones and those types of things, and then out of it. So yeah.
Very good one. I'm glad this question came up to you. Let's get another one. Let's do it. Right, Eric. Next question is, what does love mean to you?
Oh, these are hard questions. These aren't easy questions. So I think it means a lot of different things, because you can have an intimate love, which you share obviously with my wife, and I am married. And then I think the love that you have for your children, which that is an unconditional love, and it's hard sometimes, because sometimes your children have a tendency to not be what you are hoping that they will be, but you kind of have to let them go that way, and then understand that that's life. Then the love for friends, and family, and what that really means. So I think it means a lot of different things. So I don't know that I could quantify it with just one particular, like, this is what love is, but it's a lot of it, depending on which direction you go, is being able to share those intimate things with someone, and then get that back, not in a hurtful way. And what I used to tell my friends, and this is very anecdotal, but when it comes to intimate love that that's more like cooked carrots. I know that sounds funny, but knowing someone to the point that you understand they either like cooked carrots or they don't like cooked carrots. And that's what that really is, to be able to know that little nuanced thing, that it really comes down to cooked carrots.
Absolutely. I think love, I agree. I think love, it's, as you said, you can have different kind of love for your pets, for your family, for your partner. But in the end of the day, all of them come from a very special place. It's this nice feeling that you have. So I think it's, yeah, that's a good thought. Sometimes it can be hard, as you said about, but it's worth taking it, isn't it? It's worth it.
Right.
Let's get another question. Before the next question, Eric, tell me a little bit about your online business right now you're working on.
So me and my business partner, we have a coaching business now. We've named it very specifically, called High 360 Coaching. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's our logo.
Yeah. It's good that you're wearing, so you can advertise as well.
See that. So we look at people from a 360-degree perspective, and that you're not one single element of one thing, right? You're not defined by, obviously I'm a personal trainer, but I'm not defined as a personal trainer. But there's other things that go into being a whole person, be it health, wellness, nutrition, fitness, finance. That's a big motivator for people. Social. So we are both pilots. So we just said, well, what can we do, or what can we give back that kind of allows us to take a person who may be struggling with, our original concept was maintaining your airman certificate for the life of that. And then we realized that we were limiting ourselves. So what we did is we said, well, let's open this up to everybody. And then, so now I specialize on the personal fitness side of things. So that's where my online things come from. He's more of the finance side of things. And then we have the wellness and the spiritual things that kind of go hand in hand, so that when we bring people in to coach them, we don't focus on one particular thing. So that's kind of a big picture of what it is. Although my focus is very narrow into the fitness side of things right now, but obviously the wellness and nutrition as well.
Very good. Good one. Next question is, tell us something interesting about yourself.
So being a pilot I thought that was a good one. So actually, I started off, I've served in the U.S. military for 26 years. And I actually started off as a helicopter pilot. And that's how most Army pilots started when I was coming up in the military. Then I went over to the fixed wing side of things, and then obviously jets, and then in the commercial airline industry. But what's interesting about that is I'm scared to death of heights.
No way.
So those things maybe don't go hand in hand, but yeah, for me to be up in a very tall high-rise building, it's very unnerving to me. I rode the London Eye. I had to do that. I had to check the block to do that, but for this masculine, fit pilot to be on this Ferris wheel clutching the rail and to take these pictures out by the window to get a good view, it's that's something that I deal with. So yeah, scared of height, a pilot.
Very interesting, very interesting. And you hide it well when you're feeling like, you hide it well or no? It's visible?
It's probably more visible when I'm in a building, and my wife makes fun of me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'll go by the rail. Or I've been on top of the Eiffel Tower, the same thing. I couldn't even bring myself to, I go to the top, but then I couldn't bring myself to look over the edge. But when I'm flying, it's something completely different. I don't get nervous. I don't get apprehensive of being up that high. It doesn't mean anything to me because I'm actually doing
control.
That's right.
Very interesting, very interesting. Good one, very good one. Another question, Eric. Right, Eric from Virginia. Next question is, tell us about your guilty pleasure.
So, one thing that I have a very hard time with, two things, but one I can push down, and that's I have a sweet tooth, but that doesn't really mean a lot because I can have a very small piece of chocolate and that's okay whenever I'm in full-on workout fit mode, doing that. But the one guilty pleasure I have is French fries.
Oops.
Any kind of French fries. My favorite French fries in the whole wide world are hummus from Germany. When I'm in London, I always have fish and chips, and I inevitably finish the chips. McDonald's French fries here in the States, but they have to be good French fries too. So I'm a French fry snob when it comes to that. I mean, it's that one thing that if I have it, I will lose control when it comes to French fries.
I have a sweet tooth as well, and you know what? I'll tell you something. Have you ever tried, when you come to England, have you ever tried stick off pudding? Yeah, next time when you come to England, just try stick off pudding. I'll tell you something. Stick off pudding is one of the best desserts I've ever had. It's one of my guilty pleasures actually because it's like caramel. It's like a sponge, just sponge with some caramel, caramel sauce on the. Okay. Oh my God, this is the best ever you tried. Stick off pudding. Since I've tried it, I eat a lot. Another question for you. Eric, before the next question, I need to ask you this question. Tell me, if you can share, of course, tell me about a moment or a story that what was the most challenged fight you ever had? Something like interesting, the most challenged one.
So,
if you can share, of course.
Yeah. So a lot of flights, they're challenging in their own way because you don't want to be complacent, and that is a very big thing as a pilot. And I've had numerous flights where things have gone wrong, where it was bad, but the most challenging thing when it comes to flying, for me, remember I said I was a helicopter pilot. So I started off in a helicopter, and I started off in a Bell Jet Ranger. It's a single engine, single rotor trainer helicopter. And I could not hover, which is you have to hover in order to be a helicopter pilot because you have to be able to stand still and keep it above the ground. And for the first 2 weeks of flight school, I was convinced that I had made the wrong decision, that I was not going to be a pilot. I wasn't getting it. I called my mother every night and said, this is the worst decision that I have ever made. I'm not getting it because to me, I overanalyze things, but that's typically a pilot response too, is we overanalyze things. And instead of just going with it, I was overanalyzing things. And for the first 4 weeks, my instructor pilot didn't think that I was actually going to make it through flight school because I could do everything else. I could fly in a straight line, I could go up, I could go down, I could do all of those things, but I could not hover the helicopter.
When you say hover, what it means, hover?
So a helicopter, an airplane goes like this, right?
Yeah.
It's always moving like this. You hope anyhow, you don't want it to be doing something else, unless it's acrobatic stuff. But in a helicopter, so if this is the ground, I can pick it up and I can leave it there, and I'm 3 feet off the ground typically at a hover, and that means I can move this way, this way, this way.
I see. Okay,
like a high hover, I can do low hover, and yeah, it wasn't clicking for me, but eventually it did. But yeah, that was trying to overcome. Oh, it was. I was having night terrors. That was that bad. It was ridiculous.
Wow, I just learned something new actually. I never thought about this hover, this movement. Very good one. Right, next question is, I don't know if you have children, but if you were to raise a child, what would be the most important things would you like them to learn?
So I have two children, and one of the most important thing that we did, and we just fundamentally agree with, is being exposed to other things that aren't the same as you. Being in the military obviously afforded us the opportunity to live abroad, and we did. We lived everywhere. And to see things and new things and not be isolated. I think, I don't know how it is in England, but in the US in particular, a lot of people have a tendency to stay in the same place, and they won't move, and they don't interact with other people. And I think that's detrimental, because the world, it's not as big as we make it out to be, and everybody, I think, generally speaking, kind of want the same things in the world for themselves. But I don't think you get that if you're isolated in one particular community. You need to get out. You need to see other people, and that's what we encourage with our kids, and that's what we did with our kids. I took them everywhere, and they literally, before my son, before he was a teenager, he had circumnavigated the globe twice.
What a gift, my God.
So, having that exposure, I think that allows you to be
open.
But yeah, open, and you start to understand things, right, culturally, because I think sometimes we have a tendency to say, well, because you look different, you talk different, you're from a different place, then clearly you must want different things. That's not the case,
That's cool.
And that's something, so something funny to go along with that is my mother used to ask me, well, how is it that you can go anywhere in the world and you're okay with that? And I said, well, it's three things. It's I can go anywhere in the world, and I can live by a smile. That's the most important one. I can generally communicate, even with English, and if you're willing to do it, to go out and experience the local thing, you'll be just fine.
That's true. That's very true. I think it's a when you are open-minded, a gift. I think what you did, my God, I wish that I mean, everything happened for a reason, I believe, but I think it's every parent, if they had this mindset, I think the world would be a different place. Because I think when you see children or even teenagers like pointing or judge whatever, it's not their fault. It's just the way they've kind of been raised in a way. You know what I mean? So yeah. Very good point, like that. I enjoyed the show so far, Eric.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Very good. So let's get another question for you. Let's do it. Right, before the next question, can you speak another language or?
I can speak enough Russian to get me in trouble in Russian. My wife is Russian. And I have a tendency to speak better Russian when I've been drinking vodka.
Of course.
And that's really it. I mean, I took French for a number of years in high school, and I know a few words. And like I said, I could probably muddle my way through some conversation, but I have to be immersed in it, especially with Russian. I can speak it a little bit and understand, but usually when I'm immersed in it for a couple of weeks, then it starts to come back. So.
Okay, right. Next question is, what are three things are you most grateful for?
Well, my family first and foremost, because they stuck with me through most of my military career. I wasn't married early on in my military career, and having drugged them around the world now, that's obviously dragging them around the world had its benefits too, but they stuck with me through that and enjoyed it, and I hope that translates to their life. One, being able to do what it is that I absolutely love, which when you're young and, like I said, you start to put things into perspective, that potentially there was going to be a limit to what I could do. Being a pilot, and having kind of stepped my way through the process and worked my way through that, obviously. And then the other one is being able to share those types of things with share my experiences with the people that are close to me. That's been very important, that I, kind of have a network of people and my family to be able to share those experiences with and say, this is what I've done, and have those types of things. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Another question. Let's do it. Eric, before the next question, tell me what would be your best piece of advice for someone who would like to start a career as a pilot?
So before you do anything, and that means before you go get your airman certificate, different rules in the EU, it's EASA, and there's different rules over there, but the first thing you need to do is go out, and we call it a nickel ride or a FAM ride. It has different names, but you need to go out and actually get in either a small helicopter or a small airplane and go do a 1-hour flight and see if it's something that's going to mean something to you. It's very easy, I think, to look at pilots, TV shows or whatever. I mean, I'm a kid of the 80s, so Airwolf or things like that, and say that's what I want to do. It's completely different when you're in the front of the helicopter and you're doing that, or on a very small airplane, and understand that's where the process starts. And if that works for you after that first ride, then start down the path that you want to be on. And now, having said that, there's a lot of caveats, right? Because you have to be medically qualified, which means you have to go see a flight surgeon to make sure that you can do that. But don't pay for that stuff up front, and don't pay for all those extra things. Don't do that. Go get in an airplane, get in a helicopter, or even a glider. I mean, some people want to do parasailing, gliding rather, not parasailing, and go see if it's something that really, really piques your interest. And then if it does, then you go down that. Because I've sent people out and said, well, if you want to be a helicopter pilot, go get in the front of a helicopter and go for a ride and see if you like it. I come back, I didn't like it. It's not for everybody.
Good one. Very good advice. Okay, next question is, what does your best friends do that comforts you the most?
So I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people, because of the military, and have a huge network of friends. And a lot of that is with those shared experiences. So it's very easy for me to pick up the phone and have my close friends answer and talk for an hour and a half. And it could be about whatever, but just knowing that we can reach out and we can talk to each other whenever we need to. Now, the other side of that is being a pilot and having the ability to get in an airplane and be able to go meet them or have dinner or whatever. So I think it's the ease of connectivity, but just being able to talk about whatever. Typically whenever too, because we have great schedule, so it's usually like, hey, give me a call or so. Yeah, sure. I like that.
Good, very good. Right, I have 3 questions left for you.
Okay.
Let's do it. Have you been in Brazil before?
I have. I've been to Sao Paulo. How many times have I been there? 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Just a couple of times.
Cool. You say about helicopter, just made me remember something. In Brazil, I'm sure other places as well, but there is in Rio de Janeiro. I was watching this program once, and there was this lady, and she was in the helicopter, and she asked for the pilots to do. They call badalo. Badalo, literally, it's something that I didn't know that, but they go high with the helicopter, and suddenly they switch off all the thing and just go down. And
Yeah.
suddenly, yes, and I was like, oh my God, and there's the risk as well, the helicopter cannot, shoot it on again. And when I heard that, and she was like showing the camera, I was like, oh my God, I would be really like scared of my doing this kind of activity. I don't know if it's illegal to do something like that.
So we call that auto rotate on our side, on the FA side of things, in a helicopter.
Okay.
And that's actually, it's a training maneuver. So what you do is now we don't turn off the engine because we can't shut down an engine. It's a single engine or multi-engine. You can bring it back to idle, but you never shut it off because for that reason, right? What if it doesn't start? Because it's an emergency procedure that you're going through. Well, what you'll do is you'll cut off the fuel. The engine will simulate as though it's dying. Now it's at idle, which means there's not enough gas getting to it. So it simulates as though it's shutting itself down. And then helicopter is different, right? Because I can hover. Well, if I'm hovering and the engine shuts down, that means I fall. So now I've got to push forward, auto rotate, which means I'm creating lift essentially, but I'm still falling. So that equivalent is the same as getting to the top of a roller coaster. So have you ever been on a roller coaster? So you get to the top, you crest the top.
Oh my God.
And then you have to fall very quickly because you have to build up airspeed, right, in order to fly. So the intent of that is actually to fly it to the ground safely and not fall to the ground. So, yeah.
Whew. I'll never try that.
Yeah, usually you don't do that with a passenger. We can't do that in the States. So you don't simulate an emergency procedure like that. That's a training environment thing. So.
Brazil, I always find a way to do things.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's ways around it everywhere.
Absolutely. Next question is, what's your favorite holiday season of the year?
So there's two things that I like. Now, one is Christmas. We've just always been just a huge Christmas family. We go all out. The house is usually decorated for about 6 weeks, and it's decorated to it usually I have to tell my wife the day before Christmas she has to stop decorating or stop buying stuff to decorate with because we've decorated enough. So the house is usually full of Christmas decorations and Christmas, and outside, inside, as much as we try to be as tasteful as we can, but that's just something that brings us joy. And the second thing is, so here in DC, there is the Cherry Blossom Festival, and the cherry blossoms usually come into bloom around my birthday. So right around my birthday, I typically get into Washington, D.C. to be around the cherry blossoms. So I love springtime. But to me, that's like the start of like the warm weather is to go out and see the cherry blossoms, which because of COVID, I couldn't do last year. I could only see it when I drove by. So yeah.
Very good. Good question. 2 questions left for you. Let's do it. Eric, I'm glad that I just thought that about now. Where were you when the 9/11 happened?
So when 9/11 happened, I was in the Army and was actually in Korea. And it was late at night because of the time zone difference.
Yep.
And I was in downtown Aljanri, and my friend called and said they just took down the World Trade Center. Well, in Korea, South Korea, there's a World Trade Center there, and I thought, okay, they just did, all right. So I ran home to see what was going on, and then obviously got to experience that, and then our whole world changed big time. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, what a moment. I remember I was living in Brazil at the time, still, and where I come from, Brazil is the same time as New York, the same time zone in New York.
Right.
And I remember I was working McDonald's at the time. I remember I was a teenager, and I remember I was sleeping, and my flatmate came up to me and said, "William, is something happening in New York? Like this is not clear yet." And we're the first tower, and the second one, the plane crash. Right. That's where she came screaming, like, "William, please, did you come here now?" I My God, yeah, the world changed since then. And 1 year after I was moving to Portugal, yeah, 2002, when I moved to Portugal. Actually, when it was my first time in a plane, my first time I was living abroad. And I remember when I was from Rio, I come from Mato Grosso State, like 2 hours by plane from Rio, São Paulo. And I remember, so I had a flight from Rio de Janeiro, and from Rio de Janeiro to Portugal. And you know what I did? I remember that now. The flight attendant came up to me, and I asked her, I said, "Oh, do you think it would be possible for me to visit the pilot's cabin?" She was like, "No, of course not." And my friend said to me, "My God, you're crazy. It just happened now. I have this. Now you ask this kind of." But I just was so tempted. It was my first time in a plane. I just was so tempted to ask that. And she said, "No, of course not."
You'd be surprised. There are people that actually, even now, want to meet with the pilots. Now we try to get out and talk as much as we can, but I've actually been called out of the cockpit to talk to a passenger because she was just so like, she was convinced that because we were heading in a turbulence that I was not clearly doing enough as a pilot to avoid the turbulence, and she was watching her own thing, trying to tell me like, here's where the storm is and why are we going this way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you get all kinds of people, but yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
Because they don't fly, they don't understand, and you got to be reassuring. So yeah, I can see that.
Interesting one. Next question is, what makes you a unique person?
Oh, what makes me a unique person? Oh, that's a hard one. So I think my uniqueness comes twofold. One, I always try to see things, I don't always succeed, see things from the other point of view. So I always try to take the opposite of whatever position that I'm in, see if I can really focus in on the other person's perspective and take it from that side. My wife typically argues with me that that's a siding principle, where if I start to see things from another point of view, that I'm either capitulating or giving in. When I say, well, I can see, I don't agree with it, but I can understand why I'm coming from that direction, and the other thing is I have a tendency to hyper-focus. So if given a task or a project or anything, that I can focus, like, it's insane, my ability to get down to like that focus on anything, and not be aware that I'm so hyper focused that I lose track of everything else. So that's a minus.
Very interesting. Ready for the last one?
Sure.
Last question, Eric. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me what's the most memorable lesson you learned from your wife?
It's a good one. So my wife is Russian, so we have a tendency, obviously, to culturally, we speak differently. I'm a man, and that ability to hyper-focus is I have a tendency just to say things, and a lot of it, there's no hurtful meaning behind it. It's just like, here you go. Here's the answer.
Yeah.
Here's what you're really saying. And my wife will tell me, I don't need you to just tell me that. I just need you to be on my side. And maybe you should just like, maybe you just shouldn't talk. Because, I'm a guy, right? So I usually want to give the answer, or, I'll just say something, and to me it has no meaning, right? There's no context behind it. It's just like, I'll say it and then I just move on. Where for her, she will internalize that, or from her perspective, when she'll ask things, she's not really asking me something. She's just basically saying stuff and wants me to agree with her. So that's been very, very difficult for me to look at her and kind of do like this a lot. Yes.
They're in charge. The housewife, they're always in charge of the house.
They are. That's 100%.
Last question now. What's something not many people know about you?
Um, well, so a few people know this. So actually, my first business I had a number of years ago, I owned a nightclub. Uh, so I had a bar with a dance floor and all of that. But what people don't realize now, even though I have a shaved head, and I'm very unshaven today because I'm got a photo shoot coming this weekend, so I haven't shaved. I have a tendency to look very, very angry because shaved head, growth, and I usually don't smile a whole lot. But
Intimidating.
that's right. I have a reputation. But the one thing that makes me very, very happy is dance music. And so I am a huge electronic dance music freak. Sirius XM radio channel 51. I'm on there all the time. Can be at any store, and I've got SoundHound app on my phone. And if I hear like something that's catchy or whatever, I'll try to capture it, and then I come home and look for that music. And then I usually play it ridiculously a long period of time until I basically get tired of that song, and my wife hates it because I can listen to the same music over and over again. But so going back to the bar, I had the bar because I like dance music and I like that genre and being around people that were dancing. Now I'm not a dancer. I have no rhythm, so that's blessed with that.
You just be modest now. I think you've got some moves. Just be modest, I think.
Yeah. But that's the one thing that most people don't realize is that I'm just a huge dance music fan. Music in general, but dance music, if I had one station, that's what I listen to over and over again.
Very good. Good one. Okay, Eric, it's not the end yet, okay? So let's play now the quick thinking game. So I'm going to give away some words and you just tell me one word that comes to your mind, okay? Quick thinking. Okay. Let's start with politics.
Oh, divisive.
Okay. Love.
Heart.
Okay. Money.
Freedom.
Family.
Oh, that's love right there.
Life.
Longevity.
Sex.
Necessary.
Religion.
Personal.
Fear.
I don't have anything for fear.
Besides the height?
Yeah, I think that's a necessary evil.
Good. Friendship.
Necessary.
Okay. Regrets.
Sorrowful.
Okay. I like this word. Sorrowful. I like this word. Success.
Necessary.
Wish.
Unrealistic.
Happiness.
Joy.
If I tell you Virginia, one word.
Home.
United States of America.
Home.
And the last one now, pilots.
Oh, that's happiness right there.
Very good one. Right, let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely wife, and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Eric, and tell me something that he needs to improve on. What do you think your wife will tell me?
She will probably tell you that she absolutely loves how I hug her, or, that's what she tells me all the time. She's like, that's the one thing that you can do that that's just what I enjoy, when you give me a hug. And
Very good.
Not talk, just give me a hug.
That's so nice.
And then the other one is obviously listen more, talk less.
Of course. Right, let's play now, Eric, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question, okay? Right, you can ask me a question now, Eric.
Okay, so why the move from Brazil to Portugal and then from Portugal to London? What was that?
Very good question. By the way, I'm gonna cut down the story in a very short, because I'm gonna write a book one day, Eric, because when I was 19 when I left Brazil, like on my own, and my God, I literally want to write a book about it because it's such a, when I look back, it's like, my God, that's a big step. When you believe in something, if you really believe it, you can make it. There's no way things gonna go. Anyway, so I think one of the main reason, always very adventurous person. Yeah, I remember being a child when I was very young. I remember during my school holidays, I was asking my dad if I could work. And when I look back, I always had this personality of, like being a better person growing up, just be a better person in life and get opportunities as well. So when I was 19 years old, when I had the opportunity to cut stories, a lot of short story as well, I always want to live in a country where the first language was English. My mom used I always loved the language, always being passionate about the English language. And of course, Brazilian people tend to go to America, always like America dream. Brazilian people always tend to go to America. But because my parents, they couldn't afford like a visa, they didn't have they couldn't support me to go to America, so I didn't try a visa. And so one very magical day that changed my life. I literally was walking one day I get emotional sometimes when I talk about it because it's very powerful. But anyway, so I just I just knocked this door of this travel agency. Nowadays don't find it because of the technology.
Oh,
yeah. And so I after like knocking so many different doors, and I came to this very little one, and I remember this scene. My God, I saw this lady and I told her, I said, look, I know that, because so many people said, no, it's impossible. And I just came up to her and I said, look, I know that my parents doesn't have money. I don't have way of support myself in America, USA, but I have this dream to go away. I have this dream to live abroad, to improve my English and everything. And she looked at me and said, oh my God, said, really, I'm going to be honest to you. It's impossible for you to go to America, and because of visa, they're not going to let you, they're not give you a visa to you. But there's always a but in our lives. But I know someone who lives in Portugal. It's a friend of mine. She lives in Portugal, and she comes every year to spend the winter time, when it's like January, February in Europe. Right. She spends Brazil, and she's here now. And why don't you go try to Portugal? And after, you always can go to London, to Ireland, or somewhere you can speak English. And I was 19, and I was like, you know what? Why not? And that's how things started out. But it's a lot. It's a lot of story. How I got the money. I didn't have any place to look for the money. I remember, my God, it just made me go now in this bad memory. But anyway, so the bigger reason was of me moving from Brazil to Portugal and to England. The main thing was the language, and I just wanted to get a better life. I just want to look for opportunities in my life. When I look back, my God, I was 19 years old, and sometimes I'm like, my God, I was only 19. You know what I mean? And I just crossed the world like being 19. I didn't know anyone in Europe, and when I look back, sometimes I miss this 19 years old William back. But yeah, the answer to your question is the main reason was the language, and just always being very adventurous, and I wanted to get a better life for me, for my parents, for my family. Yeah. And here I am in London now doing these projects, and my God, Eric, you made me go back in the memory that I want to. Good question, good one, very good. Did you have a good time?
I did. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for being so sweet and so kind. And my God, when I've been inviting random people online, and when I saw your profile, I just felt like sending a message. You were very kind, very sweet, and I didn't know you were a pilot. My God, I could be here another hour just talking about the experience. How amazing! My first pilot in the show. Very good. I'm very glad. And just before you go, if you don't mind to share a positive quote, a positive message, something that inspires you in life.
One thing that I've always believed in, now there's been books written on it and other people have taken that, and I'm not trying to plagiarize anybody. It's, when we think of things like, when you decided to move, or anything that I've done, it starts with one thing. It all comes down to one thing. It's not, yes, there's numerous steps to get somewhere, right? But if you look at things from, just change one thing. Just change one thing. If you change one thing, then the next time you change one thing, and then one thing, and then at the end of your journey, you will have seen that you've made all of these things happen stepwise. But it didn't start with, I didn't run towards that thing. I didn't make these drastic changes. It all came down to it was one thing. And if you can narrow it down to change that one thing, then you'll be fine.
Very good. Very good. Wow, very good one. I like that, Eric. Thanks so much. Thank you very much. All the best. All the best for you and your family, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.